let's just give you a chunk of some of what goes on in our city. Now, we know about the kids, the little mobsters, the little Al Capones. We know about them. But yesterday, at 2:22 a.m., 900 block North Michigan Avenue, a once great street, Chicago police said a 33-year-old man was on the street when a dark SUV approached. Damn those dark SUVs. We should ban those. And somebody gets out, armed with handguns, demand the victim's property. He is a ATF agent who was visiting Chicago. And kids, if you're paying attention at home, remember, nothing good happens after 10 p.m. at night.
Is it 10 now?
Yeah, it's 10.
They moved that up?
Yeah, I thought it was midnight.
You'll see.
I thought it was 2 a.m.
You'll see when you'll see when you guys get long in the tooth like me. So with that said, I wanted to bring in a guy that I admire in Chicago. He is the alderman of the 15th district, Alderman Ray Lopez. Ray, sweet baby Ray. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday to you and to your listeners.
Good morning,
buddy. I was talking earlier, Jane and I were discussing that at 8:20 this morning, we're going to have Pastor Donovan Price on. And if you don't know who he is, Google him up. Wonderful man who I met through Ray. The thing about Pastor Price and the thing about you is you ask for accountability in your ward, in your neighborhood, in the city. Yesterday, or when Brandon Johnson was talking about kids, he was like, hey, don't be careful about how you talk about them. Let me play the sound clip for you here.
We have to be very careful when we use language to describe certain behavior. There's history in this city. I mean, to refer to children as like baby Al Capones is not appropriate.
And I thought, I wonder what Ray Lopez, who lives in a ward that sees its share of problems, thinks about a comment like that, about how we refer to people and the niceties of the exchange of how we must refer to them. There has to be accountability, doesn't there, Ray?
Well, I'm surprised you didn't hear my eyes rolling in the back of my head just listening to the clip again. And I've heard this clip about a half a dozen times because everyone's talking about it. And yes, the mayor is right. Words have meaning in history. And it's very Orwellian, if you ask me, trying to use flowery words to mask very violent behavior because you don't want to call out the very violent behavior and intentional behavior of our children. You have to call it for what it is. And that was the most beautiful deflection I've ever seen, trying to downplay what happened. It was a mob, not the Scorsese mob that, we're accustomed to seeing on TV, but it was a mob action because you had, more than 10 people intentionally gathered to do something, and they were trying to clearly loot a 7-Eleven, got upset, and just went on a rampage in the South Loop. And we've seen this time and time again. You can call it a teen takeover. You could call it a street takeover. These are mob actions when you have 200, 300, 400 people out acting crazy, stupid, and destructive.
We're talking with Alderman Raymond Lopez. He should have been our mayor, but he was smart, and he threw his weight behind somebody else. And it's not a lot of weight because Ray is a very, very handsome man who takes care of himself. But this is WLS, and here's Jane.
Ray, do you think, though, the mayor was maybe just trying to reframe how we are thinking of these, I guess,
thugs,
mobsters? I mean, just if a kid hears so many times that you're bad, then they're like, okay, I'm bad. I get it. The kids are not listening to this, and they're not hearing anyone calling them the mobs. They're worried about doing the next, where are we going to meet up next on social media? But just throwing it out there, maybe he's just trying to reframe it.
I absolutely think he's trying to reframe it because they're trying to legitimize bad behavior. And I've heard this for nearly a decade in my communities from all of those criminal enablers who would tell me every time I call out a gangbanger or a group of gangbangers that I was, that I was maligning the youth, or I was doing this, or I was doing that. No, you have to call a spade a spade. The truth is the truth no matter what. And if you have individuals committed to crime, acting out or doing illegal things, you need to call that behavior out, because the more that you try to change the direction of the narrative, the more you try to rename something negative into something positive, you are enabling that behavior. And that's exactly what this kind of messaging is doing. and you see it a lot from the left and super left and the left of left type politicians who see nothing wrong with put no fault for anything wrong on the individuals doing these acts and try to always blame it as some sort of societal ill, as opposed to making people take responsibility for their actions. No one's saying those youth don't belong downtown. I don't care if 300 of them came downtown and enjoyed the day. But they're not coming to enjoy the day. They're coming to destroy the city because they are bored, they think it's cute, and they all want to be TikTok famous. So you have to put your foot down and say no.
That's right. I want to talk about something really good, because then I know that Brett Gogol wants to ask you a question, but I loved seeing you at the 23rd annual the charity baseball game with the fire and the police. That's a great event that I look forward to every year.
It was a great time. The officers and firemen didn't give me a chance to sit down for more than 5 minutes, which is wonderful to feel so much love there. And, I really got to say, Chicago Fire, Chicago's bravest, really needs to pick up its game. I think it was a 10-0 loss. I don't even know how that happened, but
yeah. You know what? There's nothing better than watching firemen and police fight over who's the bigger hero. It's a WLSAM 890. That voice is that of the very effervescent Ray Lopez from the 15th. Brett.
Alderman, in that same presser yesterday, the mayor said that he and the police have been responsible for preventing some of those teen takeovers. Is there any way, are you able to confirm that, or has his office worked with you to prevent those from happening in terms of, checking social media ahead of time, things like that?
I can't confirm that, but I do know that we have the capability to monitor social media. I do know that Fred Waller, in his previous roles, was very aware and cognizant of the use of social media for a lot of the negative activity that goes on in our neighborhoods. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's truth to that. Now, unfortunately, as you know, saying that you prevented things is like when Homeland Security says we prevented 2,000 acts of terrorism. Yeah. Everyone says they want proof because they've never seen a terrorist act since. Well, it's kind of, one and the same. But the fact that we still have these events going on, what you don't see as much, and I think that is a direct relation to some of that work, is you don't see the street takeovers as much as you used to. You don't see the drag racing as much as you used to, because I think CPD is doing a better job being proactive and putting presence and shutting down some of these locations early, whereas under the previous administration of who, they just kind of turned a blind eye, even though they knew that there was flyers in the media and all these kind of things happening. But that was, par for the course.
Well, you know what, Ray, just as you say that, I'm going to have Thomas Hush, our executive producer, open up the blinds, look down on Columbus, take pictures and video of the street takeover marks down there and post them up, because somebody was writing in cursive in some kind of a, foreign car with a potato shooter muffler. I mean, it's fantastic. Ray, we got to leave it there with you, buddy, but, it starts with borders and laws, and we have to follow laws. There has to be accountability. There needs to be prosecution. Call it what it is. If you smell like a dog, sooner or later you're going to stink. Chicago's got to do better, and they've got to recognize and admit it. Buddy, it's always good to talk to you. My best to Hugo and the dogs, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Alderman.
All right, guys. Have a great one.
All right, brother.